Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last episode we got the mining station relatively operational. We should be ready to bring in our first test asteroid at this time. And I do kind of want to check here to see if there's anything that we want to do here. Not particularly. Our funds are dwindling a little bit, so we're probably going to eventually have to take a break from our mining and do one of these. Maybe like extracting ore from the moon and delivering it to Kerbal. That should be relatively simple, although that's a lot of ore. We don't actually have to land it on Kerbal, but I probably would anyway. I don't know. We could maybe grab this and do this later on and just take the advance money for right now. That's something that we could do. Now, we want to hop over to our tracking station, and we want to bring in an asteroid to our mining ring station here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and fly this, and we're going to hope that we don't get another Kraken. I'm going to be quick saving quite a bit, and if we get a Kraken, I will reload, just for the record. If the physics Kraken strikes, we will reload. So I do want to get this SAS'd over to prograde. There we go. And we can see there's a bit of wiggling happening. That is for sure. And this wiggling is, I'm pretty sure, coming from these reaction wheels here. Maybe. We'll see. I want to get this flipped around to prograde, though, and we'll see how that goes. As long as, like, a little bit of wiggling here is okay. As long as we don't pick up a Kraken. That's what we want to avoid here. I'm also attempting to roll here over to be more horizontal, as in on the horizon. So that's the goal here. And this appears to be working reasonably well. That's great. So we're going to get into position here. And once we do, almost there, we're going to kill our physics here shortly. Now. Okay. And now we're just going to head on over to the prograde marker. And we're just going to try to hold our horizontal attitude. Okay. We just want to hold roughly here. So now I'm going to quick save. We don't have a Kraken currently, and we're going to head back to the tracking station and unload that. We need to bring in an asteroid next, and where do we want to park it? Well, obviously in the middle of the mining ring. That's going to be the goal there. So we're going to need to grab ourselves an asteroid redirector. I think we're going to use our Class A that's currently around Kerbal, and we'll just go ahead and fly that. How much fuel do we have in this thing? That is something that we should find out. We might need to get more fuel on it, but I think... How much do we have? 375 meters per second. That's probably insufficient. I think that we're going to need to send up another redirector to it with additional fuel. But let's see. If we wanted to set our station here as our goal, we would need to set Kerbal as our focus and zoom in over here. Set this as our target. How much would we need to intercept this? I'm betting a lot more than 375 meters per second. So let's see what we've got. I mean, we would need to get that in quite a bit more. And we've also got a 0.3 descending node here. We could maybe counter that a bit. Okay. Maybe a bit. But not really ideal. Okay, and this is like 175 meters per second. We're not quite intercepting the orbit here. Okay. So we would need to change the timing of this, obviously. Something kind of like this. But look at that relative speed differential. Yeah, this is going to require a lot more than 375 meters per second. I'm not surprised by that, to be clear. I'm deeply, deeply unsurprised by that one. So how do we want to go about doing it? Well, there is the one that is around the moon. We could see if that guy has more fuel and can get there. Maybe. We'll see. We're definitely going to need more fuel for the other one. Let's see here. This is 333 meters per second. We are around the moon. So in order to get back to Kerbal, we are going to need to burn sometime around here. And bring it back kind of like this. And the question is, well, not exactly that timing, that's for sure. Yeah, that gets us the wrong way. So a little more prograde over here like that. Yeah, this is going to be pretty spicy as is. I mean, we can change the timing on this a little bit, kind of. Specifically, we can add orbits to it. And overall, that is going to not really be what we need. So we need more fuel in these things. That's pretty clear. I wouldn't mind something with a little bit more oomph. So let's head on back to the VAB. We're definitely going to need a kind of quasi-reusable tug. It would need to be able to be, like, docked. Well, actually, it wouldn't need to be docked, would it? We should be able to transfer fuel through the asteroid that it's grabbed onto from the station and refuel it that way. Yeah, that should be a thing. Okay, so we're going to need to base this off of... This will need to be a whole new craft. We'll need to base this off of something like a remote guidance unit medium size. Is that correct? We might actually need the large size. I think it's the large size that we need. I'm going to give this a pretty beefy reaction wheel as well. And that's going to be a large reaction wheel. We're going to give it a pretty beefy battery too, a 4K. There we go. And then we're going to grab ourselves, let's see, coupling. We're going to get an advanced grabbing unit for grabbing onto the asteroid. And then how much fuel are we going to want to bring? At least a T-32, I'm thinking, and a Poodle engine to push it. That should be reasonably powerful. I mean, at an altitude of 70 kilometers, that is a thrust to weight of 1.23 as is. It's not going to be huge, but the question is, will that be enough fuel to really move one of those things? Maybe we should bring a Jumbo 64. Like this. We'll need power on it, of course. And I would like to bring a couple of Gigantors. And again, well, a couple of Gigantors would be pretty overkill, actually. Ones like this should be much better, I think. But really, this engine has an alternator on it. For what we've got going on here, ultimately, all we need is something kind of like these guys. And then put those on a telescoping hydraulic cylinder, just to push them out beyond the asteroid, ideally. Set that to full extension like that, and then we grab ourselves our photovoltaic panels, slot that in right there, and extend that like so. So it's just very wide, but it doesn't need a lot of power throughput. So that should work just fine. Like so. Cool. Next, what are we going to need on this? We've got our grabber. We shouldn't need a decoupler, or rather a coupler. We've got our reaction wheel. We've got our battery bank. We've got a lot of fuel. That should, in theory, do the trick, I think. So we're going to need to lift this thing. We will, of course, need ourselves and this will be the maneuvering stage, as is, most likely. We're going to need to put ourselves a TD-25 decoupler, like this guy. And then we'll need fuel to lift it with. Something like this. We'll keep this one white. In fact, we could go with, like, pure white. looks a little funky with this up here. We could maybe have it be metal. That kind of works. I don't hate that. Okay. Neat. And then we would go with probably a mainsail. Mainsail is our workhorse engine. So let's see how that looks with a mainsail on there. I'm not expecting this to have great thrust to weight as is. 1.2. That's a little better than I thought it would be, in all honesty, with a Jumbo 64 here. Not too bad. So we'll just put on our standard side boosters at this point, I think. We need coupling. There we go. And we'll deposit those right about here. Pollexes will probably be enough. I don't think we need Clydesdales here. So we'll try Pollexes and see how that goes. Pollexes do. Okay, we'll bring this down. Like so. And put on our aerodynamic nose cones. These guys. And we, of course, need our tail fin. So let's look at our center of mass and aerodynamic overlay. Generally, we find that... Oh, we need to go down, around. There we go. Generally, we find that we're better off doing something kind of like this. Cool. We may want to have a fairing on this. As long as we don't get going too fast. I feel like it's okay. 1.59. That would do. We would, of course, need to strut this. We would strut it in just like that. The rest of this should be very solid. I don't think we need additional struts. So this would be our asteroid ferry. Okay. And I think we go ahead and launch this. The only question I have is, on ascent, do any of these parts overheat and burn off? We might also want to have some comms on this, now that I think about it. So just something like a Communitron HG55 should do the trick. Mount that in right like that. And then that would, of course, get deployed. And that would just be if it is being sent after something particularly far away that the built-in antenna in the remote guidance unit can't handle. Okay, I think all things considered, that should be good. Assuming our solar panels don't burn off. If our solar panels burn off, then this would be a launch failure, and we would have to abort this flight and bring back what we can, if we can bring back anything. And then after that, we would need, of course, to put on a fairing. That would be the way to go. But I want to see if we can get away with not having a fairing. That would be ideal. I think we can. These parts shouldn't be too awfully delicate. Okay, we're going to start heading over to an equatorial orbit. And we'll just lock to prograde for now. We're going to have to adjust our heading a little bit here. And I'm going to drop our thrust to weight a little bit. I want to keep us at around that 1.7 mark. Okay, our heading is definitely off. I want to pull that down. Okay, that should be more like it. Throttling down again to try to save a little bit of... Actually, I'm going to completely shut off our main engine here. And we're just coasting on the SRBs for right now. We're definitely still a little high. Working on bringing that down. There we go. Thrust to weight is plenty high for right now. I just want to keep our speed a little on the lower side as we go through this thicker portion of the atmosphere. 3, 2, 1, throttling up. Separating. There we go. Okay, that should be good. Rotating us out a little bit here. And I want to pull that heading down. We're still trying to drift a little bit southward, and we want to correct that. There we go. That should do. Cool. So at this point, we're just going to continue getting altitude. We just flipped over into orbital mode, and this is now 60 kilometers. I'm going to head over to the horizon instead of sitting at the prograde marker. I want more horizontal speed. There we go. We've got about 40 seconds of burn left here. That's good. And our apoapsis height is almost in space. That's good too. Overall, this seems to be reasonably fine. Our apoapsis is now officially in space. And we're just holding on this horizontal position as best I can. There we go. And this is basically going to get us to orbit. I like it. That was a good ascent, I feel like. 97, 98, 99, 100. We'll just chill there. We've got 106 meters per second left. That might actually be enough to get us into orbit. Not quite. But it was pretty close. Okay. We'll just do something kind of like this. This is fine. We'll steer on over to that maneuver node. And as soon as we are out of the atmosphere, we'll extend our solar panels. And extend our solar panels as well. We need to extend our solar panels and extend our solar panels. Okay. I'm not entirely sure that this is going to clear the asteroid, but it's going to be more likely to clear the asteroid anyway. So there we go. Solar panels are extended, and we'll just extend our communitron as well. And this burn will happen in about 3 minutes. Let's go ahead and warp towards that. 2 minutes. 1 minute-ish. And about 10 seconds. Okay. So we'll hold here and burn. And off we go. I was hoping to not burn anything from this tank for getting into orbit, but 100 meters per second isn't too bad. Okay. 30 meters per second to go here. We are in orbit now. We'll call that good enough. Okay, so next up, we of course need to intercept this guy. And this maneuver needs to be deleted. We're not doing that. Not right now. So we can see that we're about half a degree off on the inclination. We can go ahead and change that, and that will be burning anti-normal here for about 17.8 meters per second. That's not bad. We definitely have a pretty good turn speed with this. That's great. I'm actually a little bit concerned about the positioning of this antenna. I should have thought of that. This antenna should probably be moved. For now, we're going to retract the antenna, and when we're at the station, we might move it. If we have an issue with signal strength, which I don't think we will just going this far, if we have an issue with that, then we can always fix that later. Or we can always extend the antenna for now. Okay, we're about 1 minute away from our inclination change. Let's go ahead and do so. Here in 40 seconds. 20. And we're going to burn this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Call that good. That should do the trick. Absolutely. And now we'll just look to intercept this guy. And the question is, where? We'll find out. We'll need to push out our apoapsis. We're not going to go for any gravity assists. This is going to be close to 1,000 meters per second, I think. That's definitely not really what we're looking for. Well, actually. The moon's location is awkward for us right now. That's for sure. But what if we didn't have a gravity assist? Okay. We actually had something that was fairly close over here. That's reasonably close. And, oh, that was really close. Where was that? Right there. That's about 60 kilometers out. We can maybe fine-tune that a little bit, but I don't think we even need to. This looks good. So we're going to align for that burn. 915 meters per second there, and a relative speed differential of only 200. Not too bad there. Of course, we're not going to have 5,000 when we attach up, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and warp to this, and let's get our intercept done. That'll be absolutely fine. And we've got about 1 minute till that burn. We will continue to wait a bit, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and let's burn this right about now. Okay, that'll be about a 1 minute burn. We'll physics warp that. We're not close enough to the station for that to be physics loaded, so that should be absolutely fine. We should not be creating a Kraken. 600 meters per second to go. 500. 400. 300. 200. 100 coming out of physics warp. And finishing up this burn about there. That does put us quite a ways apart. Didn't quite nail that burn. We need to go around to retrograde. And I'm going to thrust limit this engine down to like 1% here because these are very minor changes. Okay. And let's bring that on down. This is at 1% thrust, by the way. We're at like 20% of 1%. Very, very sensitive here. 35 kilometers. Okay. 41.5 is good enough. We'll call that good. Cool. So we can unthrust limit this at this time. And now we should warp our way up to about here in 16 days. Sounds good. And we should switch over to target retrograde. And off we go to intercept our asteroid. Cool. So our relative velocity isn't too bad. It is going up a little bit, but that's not shocking. And this thing will be refuelable at the station, I think. I'm pretty sure you can move it through grabbing units. If not, we can set up some sort of a wacky docking arm or something. That's an option. So at this point, we are still about 2 days out. Let's go ahead and switch over to retrograde here, and we want to warp into about here. We'll continue to warp. Okay. So where are we? There's Kerbal. There's Moon. Where's the actual station at? I don't currently see it. It might still be too far. It probably is. So this intersect is still like an hour away. We should warp to about here. That's about 8 minutes before the closest pass. Okay. We're now a lot closer to the asteroid. Yes, that is what I want to say here. 45 kilometers. Okay, I'm not exactly sure where it is yet, but we're going to kill our relative velocity here. Actually, we do know where it is. It's up over this way. So we're killing that relative velocity. We're down to 80 meters per second. 40. And we can see that we are not connected. So we are going to have to extend the communitron. Okay. The communitron is extended, and now we can do smaller throttling. That's good. Okay. Now we're going to point at the target, which should be up over this direction. Ah, there it is. Yep. Cool. And we are going to burn towards target until our intercept is sufficiently good. That's 1.2 kilometers right there. Let's thrust limit this guy down to 1% again. And we will try to fine-tune this a bit. 1.1 kilometers. 1.0. 0.9. 0.8. 0.7. 0.6. 0.5. 0.4. We're going to lose efficiency here soon. And I believe this is losing efficiency. 0.3. So we're going to call that good. We will warp into here about 2 days in the future. We're actually not going fast enough towards the object to point at retrograde, which is kind of funny, but it should be basically anti-target. Not quite anti-target, but basically anti-target. Okay, we'll hold here at retrograde. And I think we can warp a little closer. Yes, we definitely can. We'll warp in about another 45 minutes. Cool. And we're going to kill that relative velocity. 0.6, 0.5, 0.4, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, and relative velocity killed. Now we can point at the target again. And we're going to head on in. At what speed? Well, we'll see. This is 0.2 kilometers. 0.1 kilometers. And we should hit 0.0 kilometers eventually. But we're probably losing efficiency here. We can see that we're a little bit off. We would need to burn it up over like this way. There's 0.0 kilometers. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go to here. We're only at 0.3 meters per second relative to this rock. We're going to need to flip around to anti-target once we're done with this warp. Because I want to do one final braking burn. So we'll flip around to anti-target. I kind of want to come in on the opposite side of it. I don't know. We'll see. So we're just going to continue to warp here. Okay. Continuing to warp. It doesn't really matter where we grab onto this thing, actually. This is reasonably fine. Don't do that. Don't do that. Come back around. We want to kill the relative velocity. There you go. Have to aim it manually because we're only 0.3 meters per second apart. But that's fine. 2, 1, and I was hoping that would be 0.0, but sadly it is not. We'll go ahead and point towards target, but we want to point towards the center of mass here, not towards this guy. Okay. And now we're going to head on in at around 0.5 meter per second. We will arm our advanced grabbing unit, and we will hope not to blow up our Communitron. I'm going to retract it for right now. And there we grabbed. And we'll re-extend... Actually, we don't need to. Yes, it has been disturbed by another agency. We're not trying to do an asteroid redirect here for this guy. That is understood. We're not trying to do this contract. Okay, so here we have it. At this point, we are going to shut down this engine. We're going to make sure that we are controlling from this advanced grabbing unit. And at this point, we need to intercept our station. We can see that we've got 3455 meters per second. That's plenty. This thing is more than powerful enough, so that is wonderful. It is, however, time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to bring this asteroid to our station. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, Sigma162, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.